Hello viewers, welcome to Simple Accounting channel. This is Uttam sir. I am going to discuss today investment appraisal or capital budgeting. What is investment appraisal? Investment appraisal is a management tool for taking decision in respect of purchase of machinery. This is very sensitive issue for any organization because big money is to be invested to the machinery. So we have to require a intensive analysis if that investment is to be profitable or viable for the business or not. We need to be ensured this investment decision must be profitable for the business. There are a lot of methods for taking the decision. Maybe there are more or less 4 methods of taking decision in favor of purchase of machineries. Maybe the first of all, payback period. Payback period is one of the method which normally we can ensure how much time is to be required for the business getting back the money into the business. So payback period highlights the time period of investment which to be back to the business. Second one, average rate of return. Average rate of return means the specific return coming from the investment that is to be calculated. These two methods is the traditional method because this method cannot be followed by the all organization. Maybe the small organization it is suitable for them, or some of the machine who is frequently changing its model or dimension. So for that organization which are using the high technological machine is suitable for them. Right now, what are the benefit of payback period? There may be some major benefit of payback period is that it is easy to calculate, and second one, easy to understand for everyone. Demerits is that the time value of money or inflation cannot be considered in this method. In the same time, all the cash inflow cannot be considered. This is the major problem. On the other hand, accounting rate of return, this also has some benefits. First benefit is that it is easy to understand, and second one, it is easy to calculate. Demerits is that the time value of money cannot be considered, and second one, the big industry is not suitable for use average rate of return. Now we have to discuss the discounted cash flow techniques. Discounted cash flow techniques means this method is normally follow or consider the time value of money or inflation. First of all, net present value. Net present value method means some of the method where we can take the decision if the investment is to be worthwhile or viable for the business. And another method is the internal rate of return. Internal rate of return is a return which make the net present value 0. It means whatever the investment, exactly the total value of present value must be equal. It means maybe the investment is 500,000, the net present value also be the 500,000. It is 0. 500,000 investment and 500,000 present value. So present value minus investment equal to 0. This is not possible practically because that rate cannot be determined. because lot of complicated calculation is over there and round figure cannot be found. In respect of net present value method and internal rate of return, both are the scientific method. Most of the organization is following net present value. This is very popular, but internal rate of return is very complicated calculation is over there. That's why most of the organization is ignoring the internal rate of return. But if the internal rate of return is useful to your organization, then you have to take the decision to follow that. What are the benefits of internal rate of return or net present value? The first benefit is that internal rate of return or net present value consider time value of money. The inflation is considering by this method. Another benefit is that the whole money which is generating into the business is considered by this method. And another benefit is that most of the organization is following this method because it is very popular. The demerits of the discounting cash flow technique is that this is very difficult to calculation because lot of complicated calculation is over there, and only the big organization can use this type of method. Now I am going to discuss how the practical problem is to be solved. Maybe some of the question paper you are given how you have to determine the payback period. First of all, when we are going to determine the payback period, then some of the format you have to be followed. Now you have to see the board. You are requested to see the board over here. First of all, this is the payback period. Payback period, the format is that in the left hand side, first of all you to write the years, then you to write the cash flow, cash inflow, then second column it is the cash outflow, third column it is the net cash inflow, and finally cumulative cash flow. So maybe the information you are given, maybe some of the machine you are going to buy, the money can be inflow for 5 years. First year, second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year. Money can be inflow. So from that situation, first of all, cash inflow you to find. Maybe the cash inflow means the cash income, the income or cash inflow. Then cash outflow, the expenditure can be written over there. Then you can find the net cash inflow. Maybe the cash inflow minus cash outflow. Then you got the net cash inflow. Then you have to accumulate it or accumulate it. Then the problem is that whenever maybe you see, whenever you are going to see the cumulative cash flow or accumulated cash flow, maybe the 3 years. 3 years you got, maybe you are going to invest the 500,000 taka or $500,000. Then you see up to 3 years, you got 4,500,000, $450,000 you got. That's fourth year you have also cash inflow $100,000, but you have invested $500,000. So you already got $450,000. So rest of the amount, maybe $500,000 minus $450,000, the $50,000 is to be required. So here the payback period will be like this. You have to see it 3 years, because 3 years 450,000 is over there. 3 years, and then plus investment minus up to 3 years cash flow. 3 years cash flow is 450,000. Investment 500,000. So 500,000 minus 450,000 divided by fourth year cash flow. Fourth year is over here. So you have to check net cash flow of 4th year. Maybe over there, $100,000 is over there. So that is to be divided by this, and that also be multiplied by 12. Then you got the multiplied by 12. This figure is multiplied. Then you got the numbers of month. Maybe you got 3 years, 6 months, or 3 years, 5 months, like this. This is the way of calculating the payback period. Now, I am going to discuss in respect of average rate of return. Average rate of return. This is the format. First of all, you to write the left hand side, extreme left hand side. That is the years is given. Then net cash, then cash inflow, then cash outflow. Here the basic difference of payback period, and here the cash outflow. Here also the cash outflow. This cash outflow must be included the depreciation. But whenever we going to calculate the payback period of this format, here the cash outflow is not included the depreciation. But average rate of return, whenever you going to calculate, then obviously you have to take the depreciation over here. So cash outflow is to be included the depreciation, and the another column is the same as it was over here. So cash inflow, then cash outflow including depreciation, then net cash flow. So cash inflow minus cash outflow, the figure you got the net cash inflow, and then you to write cumulative or accumulated cash flow like this. Whenever you got this information, so this information must be given to your question paper. So finding the years and cash inflow, cash outflow, net cash flow, cumulative cash outflow. Whenever this is all are calculated, then total you get the total cash inflow or net income is generated over here, cumulative or accumulated cash flow. This accumulated cash flow need to be average. So what is the formula of average rate of return? You see over here, ARR, average rate of return, is over here. The formula is that average income divided by average investment. Average income is coming from this format, total income generated by the business. So maybe it is for 4 years. The income is generating for 4 years. So total income, maybe it is $800,000. Total income is the $800,000. It is generating by 4 years. So here average income, total income divided by 4. Then you got $200,000. Then the average investment, maybe your investment was $1 million. That is $100,000. So $100,000 divided by 2, then we got the average investment. So here average income divided by average investment, the figure you got, that is the rate of return. So that rate of return you have to consider if it is sufficient enough or not. You can compare with the other machineries, the return coming from the other machineries. Then you can take the decision if the rate of return is sufficient enough or not. This is the way of getting the average rate of return. Now we have the discounting cash flow techniques. Discounting cash flow techniques mean some of the techniques which to be used where we can use the inflation rate. So discounting factor is over there. So discounting factors may be given to your question paper. Maybe the year 1 to year 5, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 and year 5. Maybe the even 10%. 10%, what is the present value factor of 10%? That is to be given. If it is not given at the end of the any text, you can find some other table. From that table to be used. So you see what is the format of net present value or internal rate of return. Net present value and internal rate of return are the same format. You see over here the IRR, internal rate of return, or present value format. There are 3 and 4. That is the internal rate of return is the 3 and 4 is the present value method, net present value method. You see the format is over here. First of all, you to write the years. Then you to write the cash inflow. Cash inflow may be the sales or like this. That is to be written over here. Then cash outflow, the total expenditure of the business is to be written. And then net cash flow, the difference figure of cash inflow and cash outflow. The figure you got, that figure here is the PV factor. PV factor means present value factor. PV factor means the present value factor. And then net present value. This is the columns you have to be fulfilled. So from the question paper you have to find the years. Maybe it is 5 years. Here, but it is to be started with the 0 years because the investment taking place on the 0 years. So first of all 0 years, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this you have to write. Then you have to put the value of cash inflow. First year, second year, third year, fourth year and fifth year. That is to be given in the question paper. If the question paper maybe the information given to your question paper directly, but sometimes directly is information is not given. Maybe some of the unit is over there and the per unit value or price is also be given. Different times some of the calculation is to be required. So net sales or cash inflow, that is to be written first column, and second column maybe whenever going to produce the product, maybe you have to require the material cost, you have to require the labor cost, you have to require the factory overhead cost. If it is like this and the information is given like that, you have to separately calculate what is the total material cost, what is the total labor cost, what is the total factory overhead cost. That also be calculated separately and joined together. The net cash outflow, it to get like that way. So cash inflow, then cash outflow, then net cash flow. So this net cash flow is the difference figure of cash inflow and cash outflow. And finally in the here the PV factor or present value factor. It means maybe the company is interested and the interest rate is 10%. So what is the present PV factor of 10%? That is to be given some of the table at the end of the books. But whenever the question paper is given, maybe 5 years tables is to be given. So you have to follow that. That PV factor is to be written over here. Now cash inflow, net cash inflow is to be multiplied by present value factor. The figure you got, that is to be written in the present value in the extreme outer column. So here extreme outer column, there are two types of elements over here. Maybe in 0 years the total investment is to be written in bracket because it is invested money, and present value the positive value. Then total present value is to be added up. Then it is to be compared with the invested figure. So here is the first for 0 year. You have to write here the investment figure. Maybe it is 100,000 or 10 lakhs dollar. Some of the machines who is going to be purchased by the business. So here 0 years the total invested figure. Then year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. So these 5 years net cash flow is to be multiplied by present value factor. The figure you got, that is to be written present value column. Now end of the sum, maybe some of the information you need to analyze if there is the residual value of the investment or residual value of the asset. If it is over there, it is last year, maybe the 5 years is the last year. In that year you have to write over there and also multiplied by the PV factor. It is also the cash inflow for the business, that also be written in the present value column. Now you have to add up all the present value. The summarized present value is to be subtracted by the investment. Maybe the summarized present value is $950,000, but your investment is $100,000. It means 1 million. So $950,000 is the net present value, but invested figure is $100,000. So it is the negative figure. Net cash flow is to be $50,000. Is the net cash flow. So 50,000 is negative figure. The accept or reject criteria is that if the net present value is the positive enough, then the proposal is to be accepted. If the net present value is negative, it means invested figure is more than the present value. Then this type of proposal is to be rejected. So accept or reject criteria is that positive value accepted, negative net present value is to be rejected. So this is the present value method to calculate the investment decision. Same time, the internal rate of return. Internal rate of a quite complicated calculation is over there. Quite complicated calculation over there because internal rate of directly you cannot find the rate. Then time, if you are instructed or some of the question paper you are given, the internal rate of return need to be calculated. Then time same procedure is to be followed, which is followed in the net present value method, and you have to find the net present value from the table. But whenever the internal rate of return, maybe directly some of the internal rate of return can be calculated. Some the another formula. That formula is that you have to follow this. Here internal rate of just watch the board here. Internal rate of return. Internal rate of return equals to lower rate of return, then plus difference between the two rates, maybe the higher rate and the lower rate. So higher rate figure or lower rate any figure you have to be calculated from the table, but some of the figure is to be given. Maybe whenever the internal rate of return, at least two rate you have to be used. PV factor, 2 PV factor, maybe the 10% or 15% like this. At least 2 factors is to be required over here. If it is the 10%, the lower rate. If it is the 15%, the higher rate. So like this. The formula is that internal rate of return equal to lower rate of return. Lower rate of return may be the 10%, the lower rate of return. Maybe the 15% higher rate of return. Then it is to be add up by difference between rate. Difference in rate may be the 15% minus 10%. Higher rate is 15%, 10% is the lower rate. So 15 minus 10, that is 5 is to be the result. Then this is to be multiplied by, this is the important factors, the net present value of lower rate. Net present value 10%, what is the rate, what is the amount net present value by 10%. You have calculated by the table like this table. Maybe the another rate, maybe the 15%, that also given to your question paper. This time you see net present value of lower rate divided by lower net present value minus upper net present value. Upper net present value and the lower net present difference figure. So net present value of lower rate divided by net present value of lower rate minus net present value of upper rate. Then the figure you got, that is to be added up with the lower rate of interest. Lower rate means the 10%. So 10% maybe if the figure you got over here, maybe it is 0.5 or 0.6 like this. So the internal rate of return will be 10 plus 0.50 like this. So the internal rate of return never be got some of the rounding figure, but this method some organization is following because that can be used if the internal rate of return is the sufficient enough or not. Maybe some of the industrial return is over there, maybe it is to be the 15%, but your internal return is 17%. So this proposal is to be accepted. 15% the industrial return is the standard, but your company's return is 17.5% or 18% like this. If like this, then the proposal is to be accepted. So these are the four methods of investment appraisal. I think this video may be the helpful to you. If it is help to you, please make a like and subscribe my channel. And also, I'm going to request you, this is to be shared with your friend circle. So dear friend, that's all for today. My next video on break-even point analysis. This is the another tools of management for decision making. Break-even point analysis. You are requested to watch that. So that's all for today, and thanks for watching. Have a nice time. Goodbye.